everybody. So today we are doing one-step equations. So it says solve each equation using addition or subtraction. Check your answer. Okay, so looking at this, if you remember yesterday and in Algebra 1 where they talked about addition. To undo addition, you do subtraction. So looking at this, I want to get A all by itself. I have -2, so that means I'm going to add 2, right? So I'm going to do +2 to both sides. Okay. 8 plus 2 is 10, which equals A. Okay, cool. We have A all by itself. We're good to go. To double check, we are going to plug 10 in for A. So I have 10 minus 2, which equals 8. So I'm going to put a little check mark to show, hey, I checked it. It does work. It is true. The next one, x plus 7 equals 11. What am I going to do to the 7? Add it or subtract it? I'm going to subtract it. So I have x equals 11 minus 7 is 4. So let's double check that this works. So I'm going to plug in 4 for x. So I have 4 plus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that is 11. Yes, it does work. Next one, r minus 2 equals -6. How am I going to get rid of that -2? I'm going to add it to both sides. So +2 plus 2. One thing that I suggest is later when we get to harder or more complicated problems, maybe make a dashed line or something that goes through the equal sign so you remember where you're sitting at. So these two are going to cancel. This r comes down to the bottom. -6 plus 2 is -4. Now we're going to plug that back in. So I have -4 minus 2 equals, well, if they're both negative, that means that I'm going to add them together. So what is 4 plus 2? 6. So I'm going to write the 6. And since these are both negative, I'm just going to put a negative sign in front. So -6, -6. That works. Okay, I want you to go ahead and take a couple of minutes and try the next 3. Take 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so we are going to subtract 12. So that's going to give me -30. Put a sign there. So m equals -30. Now I'm going to plug it in. So -30 plus 12 equals -18. Perfect. We're going to subtract 10. So f equals -20 because we added those two things the two 10s together. So let's just double check. So I have -20 plus 10 equals, okay, when you see things that look like this, -20 plus 10, if you get confused doing that, just say, okay, what's 10 minus 20? 10 minus 20 is -10. They both mean the same thing. And then for the last one, we are going to subtract 5, so that is -6 equals n. And then -6 plus 5, or we could say, what's 5 minus 6? That is -1. And that looks like that's the answer that I wanted. Okay, now let's go to this next part. Solve each equation using multiplication or division. Okay, so multiplication and division are opposites of each other. So we're going to look at the problem and figure out, are we multiplying or dividing? So for this very first one, we have -3p equals -48. Well, that means that we are multiplying. So to do the opposite, I'm going to divide both sides by -3. So that's going to tell me that I have equal sign p equals -48 divided by -3 is +16. If you are trying to do this without a calculator or anything, remember negative divided by negative is always going to be positive. Let's double check that our work is right. So we have -3 times 16. That's going to give me -48. This would be an easy spot where you would say, okay, it's -16, and then -3 times -16 is +48, not negative. Okay, let's go ahead and try this next one. So we have 7t equals -8. What am I going to do? Multiply or divide? I'm going to divide both of these sides by 7. Negative 8 divided by negative 7 gives me a decimal, so I'm just going to put negative 8 over 7 equals t. Perfect. So let's go ahead and try this out. So we have 7 times negative 8 over 7 equals, okay, if I'm multiplying a whole number and a fraction together, all that means is I'm going to look and see we're just multiplying across the top. So like this, and then this is like over 1. Or you can look at this and say, I have a 7 on the top and the bottom. These are just going to cancel out. So my answer is negative 8. Good. Perfect. Okay. The very last one. What are we going to do? Multiply or divide? I'm going to divide. So I'm dividing both sides by 4. So I have y equals negative 1.1. Now, to double check, I have 4 times negative 1.1, which equals negative 4.4. Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, we have 2.8c equals 4.2, so I'm going to divide again. So by 2.8. So c equals 1.5. Double checking, 2.8 times 1.5 equals 4.2. Perfect. Okay, the next one, what do you think we're going to do here? Multiply or divide? Good, we're going to multiply. So both sides we're going to do times 6. So we have k equals 8 times 6 is 48. Double checking this. 48 over 6. 48 divided by 6 is 8. So good, we got it. The next one. What are we going to do? Multiply or divide? We're going to multiply. So times 8 times 8. So we have 128 equals W. I should have drawn a line. There we go. Okay. So now double checking, we have 128 divided by 8, and that just equals 16. This one really just makes it seem like we're just doing the same thing twice, and it's true, we are, but I just want to practice right now with this kind of thing so that later when we get the harder stuff, we'll already have that in our head of like, okay, I need to check my answer to go back and make sure that it is correct. Okay, so for this next one, Susan's cell phone plan allows her to use 950 minutes per month with no additional charge. She has 188 minutes left for this month. How many minutes has she already used this month? Okay, so let's go back and underline the stuff that is important, or we can highlight it. So she has used 950 minutes per month, or she's allowed to use. Okay, she has 188 minutes left this month. How many minutes? Okay, so how many minutes has she already used? So already used. Okay, so thinking about this, she's allowed to use 950. Okay, so we have 950. She has 188 minutes left. How many has she already used? Am I going to add or subtract anything to that 950? No, I'm not. So I'm going to put that I have 188 that we have left plus the amount that we've used. I'm just going to use any variable that I want. Right now I just want to use x. Now we're going to solve this. So we're going to draw that line through the equal sign. What am I going to do to get x by itself? I'm going to subtract 188. 950 minus 188 is 762 equals x. Perfect. So how many minutes has she already used? 762 minutes. Good. Okay. And then the last one. In the 5th year of operation, the profit of a company was 3 times the profit it earned in the 1st year of operation. If its profit was $114,000 in the 5th year of operation, what was the profit in the 1st year? Okay, so we know that we have, or we can go ahead and highlight. Okay, so highlighting, so in the 5th year of operation, the profit of a company was 3 times the profit earned in the 1st year. So 3 times profit earned in 1st year of operation. if the profit was $115 in the 5th year, what was the profit from the first year? Okay, so thinking about this, well, we know that we made 114,000, or yeah, okay, equals 3 times the profit of the first year, but we don't know the first year, so I'm just going to say 3x. Okay, so let's just go ahead and solve this. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. So x equals $38,000. Okay, $38,000. Perfect. Okay, so when you are solving these kinds of word problems, I suggest that you highlight things or underline them just to know what the important information is. Any numbers, I would go ahead and underline or highlight, and then figure out what to do with all the pieces to get the answer that you wanted. Okay, cool. That's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and make tomorrow's, so feel free to send me any emails with any issues.